Hello everyone, GoldenNova here. We just wrapped up our coverage of Dimension Force, but before we explore Tactical Masters, we need to step back and look once again at Battle of Chaos. While it's been out for some time in the OCG, it just recently dropped in the TCG, and you know what that means? TCG exclusives. And while there is a lot of creativity going on in the free agent cards, we focus on archetypes here. And in this set, we've got something you have to read between the lines to understand. Libromancers are a series of monsters who pull power from the printed page, summoning literary spirits and channeling their power to become superheroes, occult investigators, and, I presume a magical girl when another wave of support comes out. And they accomplish this using the power of rituals, splashing into other decks of the same kind to provide some interesting utility. So let's search the Dewey Decimal System to pull up all the relevant reading material, plot our course to victory, then see what characters we can write in to spice up the story. It's time to learn the lingo of Libromancers. But before we continue, a quick reminder to please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed my content so far. We're on the road to 100,000 subscribers, and the first stop on our trip is 20k, which means we're incredibly close to unlocking You Say Explained, where we'll be covering Junks, Stardust, and whatever other cards can help us rev it up. We've also got our Discord, where we're having some interesting conversations about spell counter lore. You can also follow me on Twitch, where you can join me for viewer duels and progression pulls, and don't forget about my Patreon, where you can gain access to my videos early, reach some of these milestones, as well as helping to determine which explained videos I make. Thank you all so much for watching, and now, back to the video. So, what's the deal with Libromancers? Well, they're a series of readers that support a pair of ritual monsters, helping to summon them onto the field and bridge the gap between themselves and whatever ritual theme you staple them onto. So let's start with our non-ritual monsters. While they all have different types and attributes, they all have an effect that can special summon themselves out of the hand if you reveal a ritual monster in your hand, similar to how incantations work. Libromancer Geek Boy is a level 3 wind psychic monster with 800 attack and defense, and if special summoned, you can add a Libromancer spell from your deck to your hand. So not only can you trigger this off its own special summoning effect, you can also get the search if summoned by the newly unlimited emergency teleport. What did I tell ya? And of course, it's always nice to have a way to search spells in a ritual deck. But oddly enough, we won't be searching a ritual spell. More on that in a bit. I don't know why they keep trying to break rituals like this, but hey, it's geek to me. Libromancer Magigirl is a level 4 water spellcaster monster with 600 attack and 2100 defense, and during your opponent's turn, as a quick effect, you can ritual summon a Libromancer ritual monster from your hand by tributing monsters from your hand or field whose total levels equal or exceed the monster you're ritual summoning. So while you can't immediately benefit from their effect, they are what amounts to a free ritual effect on your opponent's turn, dropping them onto the field when they least expect it, or to keep them off the field until after your opponent's used any kind of removal you think they have up their sleeves. They are cutting it kinda close on the name though. Should've named them Spell Girl after the whole Spell Ruler debacle. Libromancer Agent is a level 6 Earth Warrior monster with 2000 attack and 2500 defense, and they can target a Libromancer card in your grave and add it to your hand. Then if you added a spell or trap card by this effect, place a card from your hand on the bottom of your deck, presumably to keep you from plussing a lot with them, which is pretty lame, not gonna lie. Still, having a free level 6 summon that recycles a card each turn makes for a fantastic way to keep your card economy stocked up and give you lots of levels for ritual summons. Just don't get them mixed up with another Earth Warrior Agent monster, they hate that mix-up. Okay, now it's time to talk about our rituals. They can be ritual summoned with Libromancer cards, and gain an additional effect if any of its ritual material was on the field, which is probably one of the easiest requirements for an extra effect ever. Libromancer Firestarter is a level 3 Fire Cybers monster with 1800 attack and defense, and if ritual summoned using any number of monsters on the field, they can't be destroyed or banished by card effects. And anytime your opponent activates a card or effect while Firestarter is in the monster zone and has less than 3000 attack, they gain a persistent 200 attack and defense boost. This makes them very similar to Stellar Wind Wolfrayet, which itself is kind of like a worse Nibiru. Having destruction and banishing protection is pretty neat, but can still be affected by effects that send to grave or bounce. And capping out at 3000 means that, at best, it trades with some of the game's most powerful negation bodies like Borreload Savage Dragon and Red Eye's Dark Dragoon, though can rarely get over them. However, it's actually incredibly funny against a Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer specifically, as not only are they unaffected by their destruction effect, the debuff actually allows Firestarter's attack boost to trigger more times than usual. So when DPE leaves the field and that debuff goes away, they could end up having more than 3000 attack, though they are going to have to have been at maximum power to make it so DPE doesn't just run them over. Please be advised that any advice about attack boosting effects is not entirely understood by Nova. It's a complicated set of rules that isn't entirely intuitive and is hard to find in a rulebook. Please consult your local distant coder before taking this to a tournament. If your attack boost ends up being more than 3000, please consult a doctor immediately. Still, despite its drawbacks, Firestarter can still be a good offensive monster that's resistant to interaction in decks that don't have that kind of card, Heralds being one of them. Just don't play too many copies because it's not really a good starter card. Libromancer Doombroker is a level 6 Dark Fiend monster with 2500 attack and 2000 defense, and if ritual summoned using any number of materials on the field, it can attack directly. And during your main phase, you can set a Libromancer trap card directly from your deck. And when this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can target a face-up monster your opponent controls and shuffle it into the deck. Good grief, this card is powerful. A 2500 direct attacker that shuffles opposing monsters into the deck when it connects, and can grab you trap cards from your deck. It doesn't even matter that we only have one search target for it now, that's what future sets are for. Once again, Heralds would definitely want to have this in their roster, and after the EVA hit, they could use all the help they can get. But honestly, I can't think of a single deck that wouldn't want something like this. Whether you need to break a board or just go for game, this monster really helps you go for broker. Okay, now it's time for our spell and trap support. Libromancer First Appearance is a field spell that, when activated, lets you add a Libromancer monster from your deck to your hand with a different name from among the cards you control. And during your main phase, you can ritual summon a Libromancer ritual monster from your hand by tributing monsters from your hand or field whose total levels equal or exceed the level of the ritual monster you want to summon. And while you can only activate one First Appearance per turn, it doesn't say you can't activate the effect of First Appearance once per turn. So if you have multiple Libromancer ritual monsters you want to bring out, First Appearance can summon all of them in one turn, provided you have the material. And this is only going to get better the more Libromancers we get. Let's just hope this doesn't flop like Vendread did. I also wonder if they're going to change the name down the line, because when they start printing non-first edition versions of this, the name isn't going to line up quite as much. Libromancer Intervention is a normal trap that you can activate when your opponent activates a card or effect. You target a Libromancer ritual monster you control and return it to the hand, and if you do, negate your opponent's activated effect, then you can special summon a Libromancer monster from your hand or grave. That's a bit of a setup, sure, but Doombroker sets it up all by itself and is actually kinda nuts once you get it off the ground. With our field spell providing free ritual effects, it's not like you're gonna have a hard time getting that ritual back on the field, and every Libromancer you can summon back from this effect is a bop. For instance, any of the properly summoned ritual monsters are pretty cool, but you can also summon Agent to get back the intervention, which creates something of a closed loop of one negation per turn, Geek Boy to search out your field spell, or Magigirl to immediately ritual summon the monster right back if it's your opponent's turn. And since we're likely splashing this into other ritual decks, that means on top of whatever our monsters bring to the table, we can also throw in an Omni-Negate to help book cover any of their weaknesses. Okay, so that's all the Libromancer cards, but what do we do with them? Well, so far we're pretty mid-rangey. We've got good recycling, good searching, and some decently powerful ritual monsters, but not a very high ceiling. So we'll want to slot them into another ritual theme that's got powerful game enders, but needs more ways to interact with their opponent. So what can we play to help them out? As stated previously, Heralds benefit greatly from the inclusion of more offensively minded monsters. While the Omni-Negate isn't too important, having active removal in the form of Doombroker can help clear established threats. And since Firestarter gets their boosts based on activations, not resolutions, you can keep negating with perfection and still get the stat gains. And mark my words, once Magigirl gets their ritual form, it's gonna be a fairy. Demise is actually a pretty cool theme to splash this into. While they have their own field spell, I think you'll find First Appearance is a vast improvement. And since Firestarter can't be destroyed by either player's effects, you won't have to worry about losing them after using Demise's board wipe. If your theme can fit the additional cards, anything that wants to play Libromancers can also benefit from Impcantations. Heck, they even put material on board for you to use, right where you want it to be. And while you can't search out any Libromancer ritual spells, at least not yet, whatever theme you pair them with certainly can. Or just get Inception, that works too. Megaliths also have some generic ritual effects that can be used to summon our Libromancers, should you lack a way to get to first appearance or Magigirl. Honestly though, there's not a lot Libromancers bring to the table in this combination. The deck already has its own field spell which recycles rituals, and has mass destruction and attack boosting, so board breaking isn't an issue. The only thing I can think of is that it helps them shore up their negation. While Aeratron can kinda help with that, it only works on effects that target cards you control. So anything your opponent does to set up off-field, where a quick effect Bathor can't reach, or most hand traps, will go unanswered, but they can be hit by intervention. As for a silly tech pick, well, Firestarter gave us the Cyber, now it's time to add the Punk. Yeah, they don't have rituals of their own, but both decks are going to want to play Emergency Teleport. Punks generally only want to set up for your opponent's turn using Carp and Shirakasai, but don't have a lot of things they can do on their own turn. But a single E-Tele gets you Geek Boy, which gets you the field spell, which gets you any non-Geek Boy Libromancer. You can grab Firestarter to start firing them up, or if you have the material, you can get Doombroker to grab you that Omni-Negate. Crosssheep also sees a lot of play in Punk, and adding in a potential draw 2, discard 2 to that revival effect sounds like an obscene amount of value. And of course, by adding in the level 6 Agent and Doombroker, we can combine them with our level 3 tuners to make Shen Shen to mess with any Grave-based deck. And that's all I've got to say about Libromancers. I don't think we'll see them as anything more than a novelty right now, but I can see how the right support in Dimension Force could turn this toolbox version of the table of contents into a real page turner. Then you'll be able to take this to a tournament and change Death of the Author to Death by the Author. But now, I want to hear what you all have to say. Are Libromancers a bestseller, or are they gonna need a few more rewrites? Let me know in the comments, and if you haven't already, please make sure to like this video to show your support, subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and share this video with someone you know who loves Yu-Gi-Oh! It really does a lot to help me out. Today's episode was brought to you by my lovely patrons, including this month's Nebula Navigators Adam Zajadel, Benjamin Meisner, Eric, Genesis Yu-Gi-Oh!, Gloomba331, Howling Zangetsu, John Manji, Panther J, Shooting Star 3300, Sun Sorrow, The Wizard Moose and the Fresh Prince of Conair, Cosmic Crusaders, Bear Sharktopus Studios, Serb, Chaz Ghost, Colin Todd, Manga Pages, RGS and the Legendary Raven, as well as the wonderful Starlight Explorers you see on screen now. If you'd like to see my episodes early, as well as be a part of these credits, make sure to check out my YouTube membership or Patreon links in the description to see if I have anything you'd like on offer. And if you want to hear me talk about another ritual deck that loves cheating cost, check out this video I did covering Vendread. And if you want to see two Yu-Gi tubers going at it, check out Noah Jenkinai's latest series, Progression Polls, where your voice shapes the format. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.